Were you? Well, son of a bitch. How about that? God dang. Lucky you. Uh, yeah, it's a little unique playing a team that this late, playing them in March for the first time, um, and um, coming off the Michigan game, uh, felt really good about the way we played, especially on the offensive side of things. Michigan played well. They carried that over last night. I thought Michigan shot the ball extremely well. I thought they made some very tough shots, but I thought it was the first time that we've had a really good balance of inside, outside, and ball screens, and so I hope that can be a positive. It doesn't look like as of today will you have either one RJ and or um, Ben. Um, they're both back doing minor things, but I don't think they're game ready yet. So that'll be kind of as it has been. But we get a very very good offensive team in Penn State. They run a lot of five out stuff. They've got a veteran team. They've got a new guard, a transfer in Pickett that is playing exceptionally well. He's a big physical 6'4", 205, 210-pound kid that very, very effective in the paint. And then, obviously Sessoms is a spark plug off the bench. He's one of the top guys in this league off the bench. Very, very good score. And, Lundy, Harar, Dredd, those guys are, we're very familiar with and very, very good players. So, a team that is very well coached. Mike is doing a great job in his first year. They're going to play hard. They're going to play the way they play. They play with a pretty slow pace, and we've got to be very very dialed in.
Happy March. I guess I know it's one of your favorite times of the year. Obviously, last year didn't go the way you wanted it to, but what do you think you learned as a coach, as a program, to be more successful in March this time around?
I think the biggest thing is get back to the tournament. I mean, it's you go back and you look at some of the elite programs in the country, and at some point you get beat in the tournament. Jay Wright at Villanova had a big. You guys are all young. Lauren will remember. I mean, Jay had a time when he was having a problem. Couldn't win in the tournament. Bill Self, I think last year I put we put so much emphasis on the Big Ten tournament because we felt we got slighted in the regular season. Maybe when we won that, it wasn't. I don't know, but this year's Final Four. I mean, that's conversation. We're having those talks. You gotta think it. You gotta believe it. You gotta dream it, um, and you gotta control your own destiny. And it's a time of year where one game and you're out, and it's the abruptness of the end, as I've talked about many times, and we've got to be conscious of that.
Coach, can you talk a little bit more about Harar as a rebounder? It seems like he's a guy that could just take over on the
Yeah.
on the glass.
He's one of the best guys in the country at an early wedge. He sees it, and 2 seconds, 3 seconds before the shot goes up, he's working on getting underneath you and wedging you out and getting inside you and getting position. He's relentless. He plays extremely, extremely hard. And his role's a little different this year. Last year he was on the block all the time. This year he's playing out on the perimeter. But he's got an unbelievable motor. It's the first three words on our scouting report: motor, motor, motor. And he's just got a relentless mindset in terms of going to the glass.
Brad, I know Sunday you still didn't have all your pieces, but that said, does it feel like that was the closest you've been offensively and clicking the way you want to?
Yeah, I mean, Curbelo was great. Obviously, Plummer had an incredible first half. And then Kofi had the second. It was, and I thought it was the first time Kofi Um, the game just came to him. We didn't have to force it to him. You know, if he had an easy 7 shots in the first half, he had 8 in the second, but it wasn't where we were just running a lot of actions to get him the ball. We got him actions throughout the course of ball screens. We got him shots throughout the course of execution. It wasn't just set. And I thought we had much better flow than we've had.
Brad, I know you don't pay a lot of attention, I guess, to what happens around the Big Ten, but you guys just need one thing to break your way and then to control, your own thing here at home. Given what this year was, how do you feel like you guys have put yourself in this position?
It's been phenomenal. I mean, you start looking at the years that some of these guys have had, and Trent and DeMonte and seniors that have led us. You've seen the growth of Coleman Hawkins, and up and down. You've seen the growth of the freshmen, and yet here we are. It's you play the last week of the year for an opportunity. You start winning. 7 road games in this league, you're doing a lot right. You start, sweeping the Michigan schools. Those are great programs. When I look back when we first got here, and the thought of sweeping those schools was a daunting task. Where those programs were at, and so I think that we've had a interesting year. We've had a trying year. We've had a growing year. It hasn't been easy, and yet we're right where we need to be. And March is here, and we control everything that we can control. And we know playing the Arizonas, playing the Purdue's, playing whoever, that we're as good as any basketball team in the country. And when we play the right way, why not us?
I guess along those lines, just what did your guys maybe, internally have to do when it seemed like if something could go wrong, it sometimes did, and just to handle all that and be, like I said, in this position?
Yeah, it's life, man. That's all we talk about. It's life. It's adversity. It's nothing. Sometimes life throws you a curve. And last year we got straight fastballs and we smacked them all out of the park. We knew what was coming, and early in league play. And now you get a curveball. Now you get an injury. And this team has handled that masterfully. And the maturity, to get through wins without point guards, to have Kofi gone, and have league games where we didn't have Kofi, to have games where we were sick, and had guys out. I'm proud as heck of this group, because I think it shows their resilience, their toughness. Most importantly, I think it shows how connected they are.
Oh, sorry, Brett. We only got one mic in the back here. How close is that margin for the Big Ten? If you guys win it or not, like, how close is that for you guys to, one game here or there to winning it or losing it?
Yeah, it's the best. That's why it's the best league in the country. It's a 20 game grind, and every I don't know, Derek, what's the record of teams who've beaten us after? It's like 1-6 or something like that. 1-6. You get up for certain games, you get up for certain opponents. We've become that team. We've become that team that everybody gets excited for. And there are certain games in league play. It's very challenging. This is a very difficult league to go win on the road. The venues are incredible. And so it's one of those things that I think that, you look and you see a lot of really good basketball teams, and everybody's right there. And that's why you guys all talk about it. And I never worried about it, because it's a bunch of good teams. And at the end, you count them up, and, we don't play everybody twice. That's unfortunate. But so you get an imbalance that way, but you can't do anything about it. And you got to go play the games that are in front of you. And I'm really proud of our February. I mean, you look at our road games in February, hard ones, and to be able to persevere through that was good stuff, and it'll make us better for March.
You mentioned now being focused Final Four, NCAA tournament. Obviously, you still care a lot about the Big Ten, but maybe what led you to maybe shifting your focus a little bit, if that's the right words, to the NCAA tournament and finding success there?
Yeah, I thought last year we didn't play very good against Drexel. I thought last year, we had just an incredible edge. We played without Io. We get Io back to the last regular season game, the Big Ten tournament. Everybody in the world knows we got shafted. Everybody. I mean, when you play every game and you win the most games, and we played with an incredible edge. That's maybe not the right word, but we didn't get the right break, I guess, in terms of how they voted for us. But yeah, and then we just kind of, we didn't have enough experience in the locker room, and so I just thought that we had a big emphasis there, and just kind of thought it was going to happen. We were going to win games in the tournament, and it doesn't work like that. And we got to be better than that, and we'll be.
Coach, you talked about the different dynamics offensively coming together against Michigan. Seems that Curbelo and Hawkins help you play faster. Is the fast break another piece to that can get to where you ultimately want to go offensively?
Yes, thank you, Lord. Yes. Coleman's been his energy. We obviously know Curbelo's an elite defensive rebounder. He can start to break with his rebounding. There's pace there. And it's, anytime we get in the open court, we're pretty good. And it's just a matter of finding that right balance. So picking and choosing those opportunities with both those guys was great.
Coach, Alfonso Plummer came here with the reputation as a shooter, maybe a 3-point specialist. What has he done to get him have a more complete game? We're seeing him more comfortable driving the ball, for example.
Well, he was a point guard one time in his career. I mean, that's not something that's abnormal for him. I mean, he's played in ball screens. He's probably better than we give him credit for being. He's so elite at the other. We run a lot of actions for that, but Plummer's, he's a good basketball player, and I think he's gotten better on the defensive end. I still think he's got a lot of room to improve there, and we keep pushing him there. But again, he's turned into a terrific college basketball player, and not only just his ability to make shots, his ability to play offense, and that means passing it. And I mean, he threw a couple terrific passes the other night. So it's just he's a well-rounded offensive player who just happens to be an elite shooter.
Where are you defensively, Brad, right now? Do you feel like you can survive a game right now where the ball might not go in as much as you'd like and still kind of survive and advance?
I think that we're closer. And Kofi gives me a lot of hope there. The other night, Kofi was the best defensive game he's played all year. Kofi's attention to detail in the ball screens. He was a wall again. He wasn't getting turned sideways in his ball screen coverage. He was talking. He was active. I think that helps us so much. It helps other guards. I thought we didn't do a great job on Jones. But part of that was the way we were trying to play Hunter. And, so it was, but it was, we're getting there. We're getting pretty close. Coleman's given us a great lift with his versatility. And then, I've said it all along, that Curbelo makes us really, really good defensively because he's an elite defender.
How much difference can maybe the timing of having that type of offensive performance at Michigan, that balance that you've been looking for, help? I mean, that's the last thing these guys saw before March.
I hope so. I hope that carries over. I hope it's a sign of good things to come. I think it was, it was fun to watch. I hope it was fun to play that way. And we shared it, and we were, we made tough shots, but our guards do that. I think we got them in open ball screens on open sides. We got them in, in shakes. And I think that was something that made me feel good because we're seeing the right reads. We're seeing the coverages that they play and making the right reads. And that's 2/3 of the battle. The last one being you got to make the shot. But man, we're making the right reads. That was good.
Actually have two, if I could, Brad. Does everything come back okay after Andre kind of ran into that screen against Michigan, and then go ahead.
Yeah, he had a stinger. So you know, there was no concussion, but there was a, you know, if you ever had a stinger, you know, those are, you know, quite painful. So, you know, he's been getting treatments for that, and you know, he took a pretty good thump. So, but he'll be in practice today. Yeah.
And then who initiated like that bigger picture NCAA tournament? Was that you? I mean, I know like Trent and DeMonte and Kofi have a pretty significant voice in there as well. How did you guys kind of get to that bigger picture thought?
Well, I think it's self-evaluation. I mean, that goes back to the summer. You know, trying to, you know, we played with a chip, and I felt like we, you know, yes, we accomplished that. We accomplished what we needed to accomplish with that Big Ten tournament. Then I just, you know, I go back to the Tuesday after the championship and the first practice, and I couldn't get them going. And I go back to that. It was one of the worst practices of the year, and I'm like, I can't do that again. We can't do that again. We got to be better. It's got to be a different focus. We play and we do all this to go to the NCAA tournament. And yeah, do we want to win the Big Ten tournament? Absolutely, absolutely. But you know, we've got to control our own destiny. It's game by game. It's to be the best seed you can be, and then we got to get there, and we've got to play with a hair on fire. Excited, not drained. Maybe is a, you know, not. We got to be more excited. We got to be more grizzled and tough and excited and yeah, whatever.
I think it's kind of, sorry, I guess kind of those conversations, are those more things that you keep pointing back to last year kind of now, or is that just you kind of sort of talked about in the offseason and kind of left it? I guess if so, what do you kind of say to them now, I guess?
Oh, we're talking about it now. Now's the right time to talk about it. And you know, it's controlling our own destiny. It's playing your best basketball. I thought we started that. You know, and we didn't play bad against Ohio State. They played great. Played really good against Michigan State. We played great against Michigan. I mean, we're playing good basketball, and yet you've got to control your own destiny, and you're playing for seeding. You're playing for the best opportunity to position yourself in the best way you can for the Big Ten tournament and for you know, for the NCAA tournament.
Brad, this week the I Matter campaign began to combat the social media abuse that goes on at athletes, and your program may get the most social media attention out of any. How problematic have you seen it be, and how have you tried to help your guys?
It's real. It's really, really, really real. It's our guys handle that in a I think everybody telling young people are going to stay off social media is not realistic anymore. That's not. They're going to read it, and they get the dopamine hit when they feel the good stuff, but the other stuff hurts, and it's very, very it's real. Some of the stuff that is said to these young guys is just alarming. You know, we have legalized gambling in this state, and the stuff that gets sent these young guys is crazy. Over a $50 prop bet or something crazy. It's nuts. And yet when they play bad, you know, they've turned to kind of laughing it off, but you know it stings and you know it hurts, and it's not right. And they're kids. There's a reason I stay off of it. And nobody should have to read that nonsense. And I get it. We've got great fans, but there's a percentage that are, or maybe they're not fans, but it's a real problem. We address it a lot. We have had outside people come in and help us address it. It's not going to go away. You know, if anything, social media is going to, but I commend Josh and DIA for really having the awareness to understand it and to put it out there and to address it. And to try to at least bring attention to it. And it's not a it's a pretty serious problem for some guys.
Feels significantly different than what someone might yell at them from the stands on the road, for example.
Oh, it's night and day. It's not even. I mean, some of this stuff is life threatening. Some of this stuff is just utter shot. I mean, you would never say it to another human being if face to face. Most of them wouldn't. I mean, some of it is over all crazy things. It's not good, and we've had, racial injustice things said, that we've had, it's been alarming. And, we brought some of that stuff to attention at this time a year ago. And, obviously Kofi had a situation, on a tweet. So it's stuff that they pretty much deal with every night, every game.
Changing the topic back a little bit to something maybe a little bit more lighthearted. You talk about your team playing with a chip on their shoulder. How do you get them to do that in practice? Are there buttons you press? Are there challenges that you give them? What is it that you do to get them to play with a pissed off energy?
I don't know. I think I'm pretty good at doing that. I think I've got it changes. Sometimes it's just being pissed. Sometimes it's sarcasm. Sometimes it's making fun of them. You got to know the personnel. You got to know the time. You got to have the feel. You got to push those buttons but it's constant for me in terms of keeping guys playing with an edge, playing hard, playing together. And it's always about that. That's our culture. That's what we try to create.
Coach, you mentioned that Penn State likes to slow things down a little bit. Is pace a big key for you in this game? And, along those lines, what have you learned about your team and the ability to play different styles and different pace depending on the opponent?
Yeah, we've been pretty good in both, really. I mean, I'm more comfortable playing fast, but it's nice when you've got Kofi and you got a guy that you can throw the ball to on the block and feel really good about getting shots when the game does slow down. That's why I love our team's chances in postseason. I mean, we got really good guards, and we got a guy that's pretty much been unstoppable, on the block. So that's one of the things that I'm excited about. But it takes. Penn State's last game, they gave up 93, which is very unusual. Nebraska made boatload of threes, and we've got to execute. We can't be sloppy because we want to play fast, but we've got to know where our looks and reads are. And we didn't play exceptionally fast against Michigan, and yet we scored some points. So I'd rather be efficient, but that's it'll be we'll see how the game goes tomorrow.
Tim had a pretty sincere post about Chester and just kind of the impact Chester's had on him. What have your impressions been of how Chester goes about his job, and just kind of what have you noticed about him this first year together?
Yeah, he's a grinder, man. He works, he coaches and works like he played, and he wears his heart on his sleeve. He's competitive. He's passionate. He's, sometimes I worry about him that he's too obsessed with ball. But that being said, he's a great husband. He's a great father. And, all those traits are really important to me. It's why I hired him. When you can succeed in life with a wife and children, you can carry that over to your basketball team. But he's he's gotten more comfortable with me, in terms of what we're looking for defensively. Maybe it's a little different than what he's done, but he's adapted, and he's been great, and he brings fire every single day.
As a quick follow-up, I would assume you feel like you've got assistants right now that are ready to be head coaches, because March also does start the silly season.
Yeah. No, there's no doubt. I think when you get coaches at this level and they have success, they should have opportunities to become a head coach. And, I think that all three of those guys have proven that they're very good at their job. There's good players coming in. There's, maybe not. Maybe it's not a system or a style that any other AD out there would want. But it's worked pretty good. But they're all three quality human beings. They'll all three, in my opinion, be very successful.
If I could just get, how did you come, like the coordinator thing seems like it's becoming more popular across college basketball. How did you come to that as something that you felt would work? Because I think you did it last year too, if I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken.
I did it more for COVID last year because I was trying to, we couldn't recruit, so we couldn't leave. So instead of having one coach just do all the scouting, I thought, okay, let's maximize everybody's expertise and practice, and we're here, and we're our time. Let's best put our time management together for our players. So just experimented with it. We did a year ago. We did some dummy stuff in the summer with a scout, just seeing how kind of how it would work out. If one guy just took offense, one guy took defense, one guy took then substitutions and matchups and out of bounds plays. And it's here's what I really like about it. We don't miss near as much. So if Scott's got the offense and 4 games ago he saw an action that somebody ran against us, and now he's seeing that same action. Well, if it was your scout 4 games ago, you probably wouldn't pick up on it. But because he's had the offense, he knows exactly how to counter it, knows what to run, whatever it is. So we're not missing things. We're not, our attention to detail's been really, really good. And these guys have jumped in with both feet. And now it's a ton of film work. It's, there's very few days off, where you might, be able to feel like you can go do that, get a couple days off. If it's not your scout, well, it's not that way, but everybody's involved. Everybody knows everything that's going on. And, I'm a huge fan of it. And I think it's just made us much more efficient. Was Zach's role? Yeah, Zach is he's me. He does everything before I get it. So he goes, he meets with each of the coaches. Okay, here's what we like. Here's what I don't. Here's what you're seeing. Here's what I'm seeing. He puts it all there for me. So, after the game tomorrow night, I will get a file. I'll get all the film, and I'll have it in my file when I leave the building tomorrow night. Zach's already got Iowa done, and been through it, and then he'll follow up before practice tomorrow with the coaches. Here's what they do, blah blah blah. We seeing this, we seeing the same thing. So, because I don't have time to watch all 5 games in that time frame, and he does, and so I get a great snapshot anyway of what the other team's doing on some of these 2-day turns. Thank you.